You passed your luck check. It's
The No Class Podcast.
with your host, Eddie.
And Matt.
The Demon Warp is coming alive
Oh my gosh.
because we're at episode number 65.
Wow.
Can you believe it?
Can you believe it? That's
They're all a
wild.
small miracle at this point.
They really are.
Did you think we'd ever get to number 5 back in the day?
No, I really honestly, well, no, I don't want to. What is it? The warrior is always listening. I don't want to be self-deprecating, but I really thought like 2 or 3 people would listen to it, and for a while there that was the case. But now, I mean, yeah, I'm tickled.
Those 2 people were us, though, the 1 or 2 people.
I know.
And I'm not an adamant listener of the show.
Exactly.
I'm like,
you know. But no, but it's cool because it's kind of like, and it's the thing is, I saw a picture of someone like eating a salad, and they're sitting by this banner that's got other people eating salad and laughing, and it says something like, you know, but it's kind of that thing with like, I'd hope that when y'all listening, you feel like Eddie said,
we're
before,
the salad.
Yeah, exactly. Or at least the vegetables. But no,
We're the salad making you laugh. Laughing at salads.
like you're at the table here with us, and we're all talking about geek culture and nerd lore and gaming or whatever. You know, we're just not letting you get a word in edgewise. You know?
Having a beer, having a salad.
Exactly, having a beer and a salad. Yeah, absolutely. Or barbecue. More like barbecue. Forget a salad.
Okay, so since you brought up kind of the people laughing at salad meme,
Yeah.
I thought about doing an ad for the Long Con, one of our Facebook ads or whatever, and it would be us like eating the salads and laughing with some dice or whatever, because I am trying to come up with something good.
Yeah. Well, and you remember when Bo and Yeakley, that when they did that very first East Texas board gaming fet or whatever, they what do you call it? They did one of these like little Facebook videos. And I had to think about maybe we should do a video. It's like, I know people in this day and age don't want to, some people in certain demographics don't want to really read. They want to watch a video or something. So,
Well, I've had a really good idea for us to do a commercial for the Long Con for a long time, and we just have to get somebody with a phone and we have to get some of your precious time.
oh yeah. And it's funny you should mention that because, yeah, it's like, just someone was like, you got 4 days off, but you're going to relax. And I said, well, actually, no, I'm going to have lunch with a friend. Then we're going to do a podcast. And I've got people coming over that night. And then the next day I got to take care of some taxes and I got to do this. And I got to, and then I got to get this, go see the dentist. And then it's like, then Saturday I'm helping some people open their game store. And then Sunday I'm cooking a brisket. And, and they were like, damn. I was like, yeah, my life is, which it's self-inflicted, a lot of it. I mean, but yeah. Minnie's so vicious. She's viciously attacking her master over here.
Do you have anything to say, Minnie? She's almost directly into the microphone.
I know.
Right now.
I'm waiting for her to give it a big lick, and then you're going to be like, yeah, have some dog stank on your microphone. She's
the official puppy of
she
the Long
is
Con.
a cutie patootie. She really
Why
is.
she needs love right now,
She's
I do
on
not
that
know.
sad look of like, I just need some loves right now. She's a cutie. So, yeah, okay. Well, so first of all, why don't
I'm
we
going to sit in the chair with you.
Yeah, she's trying to climb in the chair with him. She crowded him out. Did she crowd y'all out of the bed? That's y'all that are in the. Is that like this is a no-go zone?
Everything is a dog hair covered mess now.
Of course.
We're back in those days.
Yay.
So the wife did decide to let the dog lay in the bed with us the other day. She's not going to be sleeping there because it just wouldn't work.
No, she's huge. I mean, she's getting bigger too. So, yeah.
But now she's got to where when she goes to bed at night, that's what she wants to do. She wants to run in there with us instead.
Oh wow.
So I'm like, good thing you started that.
Yeah, maybe at the foot of the bed or whatever. But no, well, you like who's it? Like I think Matt Roberts or something. They've got a bunch of dogs and they sleep in the bed with them. I think from what I've inferred from his Facebook post, and I'm like the joke is like there's hardly any room for him and the wife. But in the wintertime, all those dogs keep them warm, I bet.
Yeah, she's not old enough yet either to where I think she could make it through the night.
Yeah.
She's not on the trusted agent list for getting to run through the house all night long.
I would say you could try to put a doggy door in, but that door wouldn't work with a doggy door. So
Yeah, and then you got to get through the screen.
yeah, it's true.
So you'd have to put one in the screen, and then
be a
things can come in doggy doors.
And you got that right. You'd be surprised what'll come through.
So back to the previous topic
Yeah.
before Minnie so rudely interrupted.
It's cutely interrupted.
What we need is a somebody to run a camera for us. If you happen to know somebody that does photography or something that could set that just right. Because while we're on that, our designer, Lindsay, has just done a magnificent job with some new shirt designs.
Yeah, check them out on TeePublic.
And you can get those anytime you want. You can't have the latest con shirt yet. You got to wait, but you can have these other ones. Yeah. We've got the Thaco designs, and we'll have these Texas designs coming up.
Because, we love Texas.
Texas loves us.
Exactly. Duh. So, yeah. Long con.
Yes, what about the long con?
Yes, love the long con. It's coming up in November. Really excited. Right now we have a special thing. Look for our page on Facebook where we have a post there that if you'll like it and share it currently, you have the chance to win about $300 worth of gaming paraphernalia. Some really choice stuff that we picked out of our boxes and barrels and bags of gaming swag that we have. There's a book from Pacesetter. It's like a $30 book. There's a book from Fraud God Games. It's like a $160, $200 book. Really high quality. There's a really great still in plastic copy of Osric, and a handful of really good miniatures from 3 different companies. So you've got New Comet, and you've got Troll Lords, and the other one, I'm trying to think. I can't think of it, but this is on Facebook. But look for that post and like it and share it, and you'll have a chance to win. We're going to draw here.
Win big.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. I'm kind of cringe. Oh, and also a high quality dice bag by Durthan, our good buddy Fergie. Durthan's Bags. It's a really nice bag and his stuff is so well made. They hold a ridiculous amount of dice, and on top of that, I threw 3 different long con dice sixes in the bag as a little extra, little wink wink. You gotta have some dice in your bag, I'll even throw a long con coin in there to give it a little extra luck,
courtesy of the long con buoy.
Yeah, #1 super guys,
quicker than the human eye.
That's right.
That's how fast that shipping will be.
Yeah, so anyway, and I'm cringing
for the one dedicated listener that made that joke originally.
Yeah,
and now you can enjoy that, Larry.
Yeah, because these books are really big, thick, heavy books. But oh well. Anyway, back to the long con. Things are moving apace. We've got more and more special guests piling in, and we've lost our minds.
So we've actually got a couple of new special guests to add in.
Absolutely.
Which I will put that on you to remember, because it's Matt Robertson.
Matt Grape Ape Robertson and Stephen, and I hope I don't slaughter your name, Stephen. You're a great guy. Surratt.
Yeah.
Surratt. Anyway.
And actually on the Twitch, I think I said Sean, because I actually do know a Sean Surratt.
Yeah, but actually his name is Stephen.
Right. Yeah. His name is Stephen.
Yeah. And both of these guys they're all over the Goodman Twitch and stuff. Is either special guests or Rules is Written, or I think Grape Ape, that
Reavers
Express, which gets good numbers and looks like a lot of fun.
So they're going to run a bunch of games for us.
Mm-hmm.
Since we have so many people from the Goodman family coming now, we'll have the 2 of them, the 2 of us, Brendan.
Mm-hmm.
David Beatty,
yeah.
There might be some Twitch stuff emanating to you from the long con itself.
What?
So if you love that Twitch stuff, good for you. If you hate that Twitch stuff, that's fine. You don't have to watch it.
Right.
Except for our stuff.
Bloody well, right.
And you don't even have to watch that. Just hit play and walk away.
That's what I would do. But we always appreciate y'all listening, support, whatever,
Anything else on the long con?
Just, I know I've talked to a couple people, just it's come up organically in conversation that they're like, I intend to get my ticket, I just haven't got around to it, blah, blah, blah. And that's, it is what it is. I'm running.
They got a case of the round to it.
Yeah. And that was even our old buddy Wes Southern who's in my DCC.
We need him around anyhow.
Legacy Leak group. And
got him.
Yeah. He got him. He mentioned that the last time we met, he's like, hey, I just listened to the podcast because you just uploaded it. And he said, I heard you and Eddie going on about buy your ticket. He's like, people can wait till the last minute. I know that's just some people. That's just human nature. So that'd been a hell of a note.
It's only human.
Yeah. But anyway,
Matt stops the podcast to check his power button is actually on.
don't tell people that, damn it. But
That's why
anyway,
this all should be a video
it
podcast. So they can
really should. It really
see
should.
Minnie trying to eat my face and you checking and who's blowing out boogers and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that or like the faces that we both pull when the other one says something that we're like, what the hell did you say? Which is a lot of the fun.
So you've kind of come around. You've fallen into my trap again here.
Uh-oh.
Me and Matt save a lot of these conversations for on the podcast. So here you go, folks. Here's one that we haven't talked about yet. We're just going to spring it right on him. It is about the long con swag.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody wanted some magnets.
We heard magnets.
Good. All right, we'll look into magnets, and that seems like it's pretty doable.
Yeah.
But Matt had these really cool keychains made.
Well, actually, Miss Lindsay again.
Well,
our
you
awesome
had
designer.
them made.
Yeah.
She may have designed them, and it's through her business and all that. But
I'm
trying to give you some credit first, and then you can give her some
I
credit.
would love that, but I'm that guy. I'm not going to take.
So she came up with that entirely?
That was all of her own volition. She just jumped in and did that without any prompting or anything.
Well, what have you done lately? This was the one thing I was going to give Matt credit for that Matt's done, and now he didn't even do that. What the hell?
I gave her a lot of TLC, so I think, there you go. And that's how she, paid me
I
back.
didn't get any TLC. Where's my TLC, Matt?
Pucker up.
All right. I'm going to expect it. But I was going to say, what a wonderful, good job. Kudos, Matt. Pat on the back. And you're like, oh, I didn't do that either.
Yeah.
Damn it, Matt.
Yeah. And I tell you what, she's got on her Lindsay and Company, it's Teespring page, I think, but it's Lindsay and Company. She's got, we've allowed her to promote, I guess, or whatever. Anyway, she has our design on those metal tumblers,
Yeah.
and they're nice. They're really nice. I won't lie.
I wish I had one.
I have one coming in the mail.
You son of a... So Matt told me it's got to be a month or two ago. He showed me how beautiful these tumblers were, and he's like, I'm about to make an order. Do you want something? And I'm like, yeah, I want one of those tumblers that looks fantastic. So I wait. I'm like, where's the tumbler? And he's like, and I go, wait a couple more weeks. I was like, where's that tumbler? And he's like, and then I get
That was the exact noise I made.
I get a text at like 7 o'clock in the morning on a random Monday or something, and it's like, here's the link. I'm like, you son of a...
So I give Lindsay all that credit because she deserves it. So I'm going to throw her under the bus. So I could have swore that we talked about her ordering a couple for us. Time marches on. And finally, I kind of bugged her about it. And she said, you can get off your butt and order it yourself. And I was like, she didn't say it quite like that. But still, that was the gist of it. So, of course, I went, oh, okay. So I posted the link to you, and I proceeded to order myself one. Yeah.
Okay. Now, whenever we get stuff, when I order stuff, don't I always... order for both of us?
Oh yeah, what a guy! And generally, I ordered for you. Look, I made sure to give you the better of the two. The keychain was nice that she had made, but we both liked the bottle opener better. Keychain / bottle opener, and so I gave you the better of the two things.
Friendship.
Those are both meant for me.
Terminated.
For my little sugar plum, but I'm the nice guy. I share.
Why doesn't Sugar Plum send me some stuff? She's a big fan of the show.
Yeah, but she's really a big fan of me.
Well, I'm a big fan of her.
There you go.
So I think if she's out there listening, her and new Matt, you're in. Old Matt, you're out. You're done.
Is this like my pink slip? Should I clear out my locker?
Please enjoy old Matt's last episode of the podcast.
I want you to imagine
and be ready for the new management.
On the side of the road, hitchhiking, looking pensive, and you hear da-na-na,
in extremely short shorts, Daisy Dukes.
That's right. Kind of was the end of
looking for dates.
The Incredible Hulk. He was real big speed. Yeah.
But you have to do it with the hot shorts on.
Duh.
And pigtails.
Well, yeah, duh. Yeah, if I can get my hair into pigtail, that'd be great.
I can't remember the one guy on Reno 911, but the one that was like the movie Grandma's Boy or whatever. I can't remember like the character Terry or something like that, where he was the roller skating prostitute in short shorts.
Oh,
that would just be perfect for you to imagine folks out there.
Granny's Boy, but I don't remember that.
No, it's Reno 911.
Oh,
but it's the same actor.
That guy, yeah. It's always God. What is his name? It's something really funny. His name's funny on Reno 911. Lieutenant or officer, whatever it is.
It's not Dangle. It's this other guy.
Oh, okay. Because Dangle's the one's always wearing the hot shorts or whatever.
So somehow, if you're still listening to this,
Yeah, God
we were talking
bless
about
you.
long con swag
Yeah.
and trying to put the peer pressure on people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have said, if we don't have this many people, we don't know how much stuff to order.
Right. Right.
So perhaps these really cool keychains, we could have different levels of swag. Like if you show up, you're getting a magnet. Good for you. But if you're in the first 100 or you order by, you've got your badge before September, then you're in tier 1.
Ooh, I like
The
that.
awesome tier of swag. And we'll also throw in the cool keychain.
Yeah, and this keychain, they ain't cheap because they're really nice. This one, it's like a keychain / bottle opener, but it's got a really cool area where you can put something. It's like a plastic, glassy kind of thing. And the image that Lindsay put there was this year's the Lich and the Long Con logo. But
It's Waterford Crystal, I believe,
but we're talking about maybe putting the red wax seal on it, but we'll see.
with stainless steel platinum.
But it's really gorgeous. It's well made. I mean, it's a nice bottle opener. It's a nice keychain. Blah blah blah. It's got
Someone with
utility.
good taste picked that out.
I like the idea. I think the first 100 tickets sold, we should get one of those.
So that'll be half the people.
Yeah,
Potentially.
that would encourage the people to, well, why should I get my ticket now when I can wait? Well, you'll get what is a not exactly inexpensive, really nice, cool, bit of extra swag.
And maybe next year the thing will be the first 100 people get early bird status and they get to sign up for games first.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to threaten you with that now. Don't make us go that far, people.
Yeah. And
Don't make us
technically,
do it.
I will say the people that are walk-ups, technically we're supposed to charge more, but I'm a big softie. I generally don't.
Well, if you're listening to this, you're probably not the person that's walking up. We're
Exactly,
preaching to
yeah.
the converted. You've probably
Yeah.
already got your badge. You've probably already got your T-shirt,
But I was supposed to say for what
your
it's
Matt
worth.
and Eddie tattoo.
Yeah, for what it's worth, generally people that are walk-ups pay more. So, yeah. So anyway, so what do you think about the keychain? And
I love it. I wish I could give you some little amount of credit for it, but now I can't.
you give me all the credit.
Credit where credit is due, good sir.
What we need to do is probably take a picture of it and upload it to the podcast Facebook page so people can see the gorgeousness of that.
Lindsay, could you take care of that for Matt?
Well, you've got it.
But I'm sure she's got the
Like the original or something?
or the page
Page or
where you
something.
could get it or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't know.
But now she'll have to take that down immediately because we don't want people to buy them out from under us.
Exactly. Ding, ding, ding.
Raise the prices on it. All right, I'm sick of talking about that. What about you?
Yeah, me too. I was like thinking, let's move on. But yeah, get your ticket ASAP. Blah blah blah.
Yada yada yada.
All right. So, what do you want to talk about now?
Now it is pop culture time.
Oh my.
It is the time for the pop culture.
Oh yeah. All right. TV, movies.
It's books and comics.
Books and comics.
Say it.
None of it. Nada.
I don't think I've talked about it already, but there is an ongoing comic right now with Thor versus Hulk.
Ooh.
It's been pretty good. The most recent one, Thor has Hulked out and Hulk has Thored out. Thor got hit by a gamma bomb and the Hulk lifted Mjolnir, the hammer.
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir. Yeah.
Got him again, folks.
You made me snort. Okay, so that sounds interesting.
So it's
it
a
good?
classic battle. Of course, they've got to be evenly matched and it's got to come down to a draw or something, but it's been pretty good so far.
Well, good.
But that's all I have on the books and comic books right now. Now we go to TV.
TV. All right. Well, I know you got to finish it before me, but I've got to watch the last 2 episodes of The Boys. Holy crap. Wow. That's really intense.
So now you're done with it?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm caught up. The look on that kid's face in that last scene, whoever's directing this kid, the kid's a good actor, because that look of like from astonishment and fear to that sort of malevolent. Yeah, I mean, wow. But no, there's the Boys. It's it's raunchy, it's gory, and blah blah blah. And I mean, the people that die. I don't want to spoilers, but I was like, holy crap. The people that, yeah. Anyway, if you haven't checked out The Boys yet, check them out. Might not be your cup of tea, but if it's your cup of tea, yeah, you're welcome. And if you are already watching, then yeah, wow,
Yeah, Ron has said we turned him on to it. So
yeah, and I mean, yeah.
There were a couple of deaths or teased deaths or whatever in that one too in the last episode that were very reminiscent of the comics. So it was kind of like, oh crap, here comes that. So yeah, it was as much as I was like, the comics, at least there was some kind of callback to it or throwback for the people that read the comics. So that was an extra level right there.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Please continue.
I'm trying to think. Other than that, I think, like I said, I was mentioned last time, I've got so much stuff going on, finding the time to watch stuff. But I've been watching that new Star Trek I was telling y'all about last time. I got to watch another episode of that, and it's pretty good. I know our buddy Jeff Webb was kind of gushing about it, and that's what encouraged me to watch it. And hey, man, thanks for mentioning that, Jeffro, because, and by the way, good luck with your convalescing. Hope everything's going well. Get feeling better, man. But yeah, no. That's what encouraged me. I got the idea to watch that, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad he was ballyhooing it on his Facebook page.
Have you broke down and checked out Orville yet? The Orville?
No, but again, that popped up in my feed because our phones are listening, I think. And I think right now I saw a petition where they're encouraging the fan base to sign a petition so that they'll do a 4th season, because I think it's up in the air. Really?
Well, it hasn't bounced. It's good, but some of the characters and things that they did in the first 2 seasons, it's kind of hard to come back from some of that. So
is it kind of like maybe go out in style, maybe let it go out to pasture?
Yeah.
But the great that I'll have 3 seasons to devour, and that'll be because the first 3 seasons are pretty solid, is what I hear.
Yeah, I'm watching the 3rd season right now. I just watched like the 2nd episode of the season, maybe the 3rd, and that was almost an Aliens remake.
Oh, well,
so it was like, what if the aliens were in Star Trek on the Enterprise?
Yeah, and I think I saw that on a Facebook buddy's page. That he lets everyone know on Facebook, this is what I'm watching right now. And this is great. And this is like, I've heard a number of people talking about that. Just had that Obi-Wan show, and everybody universally is just trashing. It's garbage. It's utter flaming garbage. And I'm like, wow. I haven't watched it, so don't be mad at me for saying that, because I'm just going off what a lot of people I'm seeing on Facebook and other places are saying, that it's just the story's got huge gaping plot holes, and there's things that are very contrived that don't make sense, and it's throwaway characters, and just, yeah. And it's not really about Obi-Wan, even though it's called Obi-Wan. That's what I'm hearing. Anyway, so that's me just literally parroting stuff I've heard elsewhere. But
and did you rush out and watch Handmaid's Tale yet?
I have not. Again, I mean, I barely have time to watch the things I'm kind of dedicated to. Like I said, I just finished. I literally made myself watch The Boys last night, even though I didn't get home till about 10 from work, because I want to be able to talk about it today on the podcast. And now I knew it was going to be good. And you'd even sent me a text going, dude, check it out, So, yeah, I followed your advice.
So I finished Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, really?
It was good. I think I tried to avoid spoilers on that, but I seem to remember maybe a year or so back, people were like, it was kind of, once you hit this point, it's not as good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the whole thing.
So you didn't see a point where you were like, man, they jumped the shark?
No, not to me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's slow episodes here and there sprinkled in.
How many seasons are there?
I think that was 4 seasons, and they're going to come back and do a 5th, and that's going to be it.
Okay. Well, and talking about slow, I think that they did a weird bifurcated thing where you had to wait for the last episode for a month or something. Well, the last episode
Stranger Things
of this season, Stranger Things, I watched it, and it was good. But that's the one thing you've always complained, like I remember about the very first season, was like what was 6 episodes could have been 3.
It could have been a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it's a part where it drags and drags and drags.
Or
well, again,
2-part movie.
This season felt reminiscent of the first season, in it's got that level of quality. But again, there were times where I literally caught myself going, screw it, I'm just not going to do this. I fast forward in places because it just drags. Or it's like, I know it's like it can't just be scares and jumps and fighting booger bears, but there's parts where the character, I love you, and it's just like, okay, I get it. But I mean, it's like, do we have to come back to this? Didn't we touch on this in the last episode? And does it take 15 minutes for the girl to go, my brother was a jerk, but I don't, it's like, anyway. So
and doesn't it kind of have the Game of Thrones problem where it's like, and now to this character? And you're like, I don't care about that character's storyline.
And I mentioned that, I guess when I was reviewing this season again, now there were these divergent groups in different places. So you had the wolf, because if you're going to wolf hard, it's that wolf hard kid and Will and his brother and Stoner McGee, the new character. They're in a pizza van trying to get across the country to save Elle. and then L is in this think tank thing, and I don't think I'm giving anything away. And then Hopper and Will and what's his face, the brother's mom, played by Winona Ryder, and they got Murray, which Murray is, by the way, a hilarious character. One of the best things in this season is Murray and his antics. They're often trying to get into Russia, and they're in Russia or whatever. And then there's all the other characters, which are Nancy, Harrigan's little friend that he always has different odd jobs with, and the kid that wears the hats all the time. And
such a memorable character.
I know, and all anyway, but like there's all that group is over back in Hawkins, So you've got at that point 4 different groups that we're flipping around to, and it's like, ugh, it gets to be a bit much. But having said all that, this season really was good. Season 2 and 3 were okay. Like 1 was dynamite, and this one, maybe it's because we waited for it so long. But regardless, that might be coloring my opinion. But I think this is a return to form, and I really like season 4 in spite of the few complaints I've had.
I just can't get motivated to watch it. It's not that
fine.
I don't like the show, but I don't love the show.
Right.
And kind of like you're like, the kid with the hat. And it's like, I think I can name 2 of the kids, and one of them being 11.
Yeah.
So I'm not heavily invested in it for sure.
And I'm missing something, but like Will is constantly tearing up and biting his finger and choking and turning away and going, boop, boop, and I'm just like, am I missing something? What's going on with the Will character? But anyway, I mean, at the end, you see him grabbing his neck, and you remember, oh yeah, he went to the Upside Down in the first. He's gone to the Upside Down for most of the first season. And so, because in the second season, he kept grabbing his neck and hissing and wincing like the evil creatures from the other side are talking to him or whatever. And you're like, well, is he like a sleeper agent for them? What's going on here? Whatever. So I think people think that we're going to see something to do with that in the 5th season. So we'll see. Like he's like, what was the movie, the famous one? The first one had Frank Sinatra in it. The Candidate, the
Manchurian Candidate.
Manchurian. I wonder if Will's the upside down Manchurian Candidate or whatever. We'll see. All right, so that's me for TV, I think.
All right, how about some movies?
Well, first of all, me and Miss Lindsay went to see Elvis.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, I loved it. It was really good, and I like because we live in an age where people just love to take our heroes or things that we really enjoy and poop all over them. It's like, you like Thomas Jefferson? Let me tell you how much of a jerk he was and all these bad things he's supposed to have done or whatever. You like Washington, the father of our country? Let me tell you what a jerk he was, and all this stuff from some sources that are questionable or whatever. And I'll write a whole book and sell a bunch of copies where I poop all over your heroes. Well, people in recent years have tried to really say some bad things about Elvis, like saying he was a racist or something. And like the guy, anyway, The movie shows that no, he was not racist, blah blah blah, etc.
So the movie shows.
Yeah, well, but they show his life and what happened.
So the movie is a documentary that shows every moment of Elvis's life, so we know he's not a racist.
I'm just
because
saying,
this fictional movie.
No, it's not fictional. This is supposed to be like biographical or whatever.
But still, it's not. They didn't film Elvis. It's not the actual Elvis. It's an actor.
Anyway, needless to say,
this is a scripted movie.
It absolutely is. But there's good acting. The kid that played Elvis did good. Tom Hanks played Colonel Parker.
Now, did they poop all over him?
Oh, they showed that he was the devil incarnate. And honestly, a lot of the stuff that Elvis took crap for, it was Colonel Parker. So again,
according to the movie.
Don't get me wrong. No. And even they talked about this, that about 5-10 years after Elvis died, Parker got exposed for a lot of the stuff he did way back then. Like after Elvis died 5 years later, all this stuff came out to where he'd manipulate. He's the one that got him hooked on drugs and had this doctor that they called Dr. Nick, who gave him uppers to get him up.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, and gave him downers to put him to sleep every night and all this stuff. And anyway, it was, and his entourage did him no favors, because they catered to his whim and were a bunch of yes men. And
so who built his entourage? Colonel Parker?
Well, no, I mean, he did again, but yeah, I hear you. Now, and don't get
You're
me
judged by the company that you keep, as people frequently tell me.
Oh, and I agree.
Sadly.
I agree. But anyway, needless to say, whatever it's worth, I enjoyed the movie. It's a good movie.
Well, I just want to argue about Elvis.
I don't care.
For the sake of arguing.
Yeah, right. And then I dusted off an old...
So we're just going to skip right through this. All right, go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, it's a good movie. Go see it. And then, which is usually I'm pulling a page from your book, because like usually I'm like, people want to hear why it was good. And you're like, nope, it's good, watch it.
But I just wanted to talk about Elvis and how we know he's not racist in any way because of a movie.
I'm not saying the man didn't maybe throw some stuff around, but like they talk about when he lived in Memphis, he would go into these neighborhoods where he was
In the ghetto.
He was the only guy that was like complected there, and he hung out with him and BB King were good pals. That's where a lot of his songs, like Hound Dog, he heard people in these neighborhoods.
So you're saying he stole black music?
Absolutely, he misappropriated it, I think is the word
Wow.
nowadays. He stole that, but no, the thing is, he helped put it on the map and make it acceptable for consumption for whitey, I guess, or something, whatever.
Like Pat Boone.
Exactly. But yeah, so I dusted off an Old Faithful.
We're moving on.
Absolutely. I watched Reservoir Dogs, and that's a classic. I forgot how good a movie that is.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites. Why? Because he's a fucking professional. He's the only one being a fucking professional.
Exactly.
That's whenever I play a rogue in D&D, that's who I channel, Mr. Pink.
Yeah, Mr. Pink.
And everyone else is a Yahoo.
And
he is the only professional.
And that was a real breakout movie for Mr. Pink. Yeah. Because, I mean, I want to think, what did he do before that? Do you remember? And he was great in that. He was awesome. But also, it's the shame you didn't see much more out of, the guy that played Mr. Blonde. And I know his name, Masterson, whatever. That guy was great in that. I mean, there's some really great acting in that. I remember.
He's in Kill Bill.
Yeah. But the only work it seemed like he got after that was doing more work for Quentin Tarantino, because he's one of these directors that loves to use his cadre of actors that he likes. Like, if you do a movie with him, more than likely you're going to get to be in some Fallout movies. Like, he used
Is it Timothy Roth? Is that the one you're thinking of?
well, him and Quentin Tarantino was working in a video cassette store and was trying to break into screenwriting and directing, and he sold the screenplay for True Romance. And that did pretty well, but that was written, I think, by Oliver Stone. So then that's how he leveraged the script for Reservoir Dogs to where he wanted to direct it. So he got Harvey Keitel on board. Like, I'll make sure you're the main actor with the really juicy part if you'll help me convince Hollywood to let me direct.
Well, he's put Mr. Brown in a lot of stuff, too.
Oh, yeah.
Almost every movie he directs.
Well, so as I was going to say, while he was working in a blockbuster, essentially, out in L.A., Tim Roth was his roommate, who was just a starving, struggling actor. So, yeah, he's put Tim Roth in, they're buds, they're pals. They used to be roommates. So that's interesting. Yeah. But I tell you that story, me and Gary went to Blockbuster and got this movie because I'd heard some stuff about it. It's before the internet was like it is now, but somewhere I'd heard some really good stuff about it. And Gary's like, I don't know what is this? And man, I remember when it was over, we didn't talk, we didn't get up, we didn't pause it for a snack. I mean, it was
didn't get dressed.
Exactly. And so the fact was, when it was over, we looked over each other and like we were literally on the edge of our seats, and just like mouth gate mode, because that, the end how it. But I will say, interesting story. Nowadays he'd get pooped on right away. But this came out years later because we didn't have the internet like we do now. But that cool scene at the end with the 3 different gunmen and all that, they say he totally lifted that out of a like Chinese or Japanese
Lots of stuff is
manga or movie that basically about the Yakuza or something like that. And that exact thing happened in this movie.
Well, we're lucky the listeners don't know that we've ripped this whole podcast idea off from the Japanese equivalent.
Exactly. But anyway,
there was actually a Japanese podcast about RPGs, and we decided, screw those guys.
Yeah,
we'll do it now.
So if you've never seen Reservoir Dogs, good Lord, go watch it. It's a great movie. But again, it's got some language and there's some violence and the stuff Mr. Blonde does is like pretty wild. But anyway,
are you gonna bark all day, little dog?
Are you gonna bite? Yeah. And he's like, he's trying to. I can't. Can you hear me? That's pretty tough. But
Madonna.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's again. That's Quentin. Being Quentin. Definitely that diner scene is a trip, because I love that. That was the last movie Rod Steiger did. He was the old bald guy with the shaved head, and that was one of the last things Rod Steiger did. But it's funny when Mr. White takes his address book or something, and he's like, you give me back my book. That's just a great scene.
Nice guy Eddie.
Yeah. Which is a shame because again, Christopher
Penn, wasn't it?
Penn died not long after that. He wasn't that old, but but chunky guy doing drugs. That's a bad match. I think that's what happened. I assume. I don't know for a fact.
That's why I don't do drugs.
Yeah,
That's the only reason.
It would kill me. Yeah. But anyway, great movie. Check it out.
One of my personal favorites.
Yeah, no, I own that one. I dust it off about once every 2-3 years. See any movies for you, sir?
Of course not.
Awesome. So what do we? Video games?
Of course.
Video games. So they finally come out. They've talked about this forever. A Skyrim co-op mode.
Oh.
Have you heard about that?
Yeah.
Yep. I figured you've usually heard about already. But to our listeners, if you hadn't heard about it, and then I hear Microsoft is trying to buy Activision Blizzard, and they're buying like they bought out Bethesda, and they bought out this, and they bought that. I mean, pretty much this. I don't know. I don't like the idea of monopolies, and so I'm not real happy about this. But that's just my 2 bits. What do you think?
There's not a lot that I get from Activision Blizzard. Those have become names to avoid.
Exactly.
As much. What was it back in the day? Blizzard North.
Yeah.
That it was just like, oh boy, here comes Diablo 1 and not World of Warcraft, but just regular Warcraft 1 and 2 and Diablo 2. And that used to be the sign of quality. It's like, if Blizzard's putting this out, put me down for 2.
Yeah.
And then recently it's just kind of fallen off.
Yeah,
and
like
this whole Diablo Immortals controversy. And
what's that?
that's the mobile game.
Uh-huh.
And if you want to get your character fully maxed out, the number keeps changing, but I think it's like $70,000 right now for your mobile phone game.
Screw that. But that's like, I laugh. Lindsay's kids play Roblox, and basically,
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that too.
yeah, and basically, like every so often, she'll be like, "Oh, for a treat for the kids, I'll see her at these little gift card stations. They'll have like a $10 card for Roblox," and I'm like, "What are these little cards you buy all the time?" And she's like, "Oh, it's for stuff in game or to keep playing the game or however it works."
Yeah.
But I'm sitting here going, they talk about like some of these kids, if you add it up, what's been spent,
yeah.
you know, I mean, it's a pretty chunky number.
Because with the mobile phone games, you want to get a whale. It's like, I don't care if I never make $1 off of, 10,000 players, because I'm going to make $1 million off of these 10 players, and that's all I need to worry about. And have you looked into Roblox or whatever?
No.
So yeah, I was watching an internet video on that not too long ago about how that works. And if I've got the right thing, and I'm not dropping the wrong name and slandering the wrong company entirely, I think it was the Roblox, where it's that you make games in it.
I think that might be right.
And other people make games in it. So you can download their game, and oh boy, it's great. And I think they get some of the money for that. But apparently, I think it might have to be kid published.
Mm-hmm.
So a kid comes up with an idea for a game, and then these companies will draft those kids in and make them work insane hours.
Really?
Because there's no like child labor law for the internet sort of thing that they enforce. And it's like, if you want your game to really move up, you're going to have to do this and do that. So a lot of these companies rip them off.
Mm-hmm.
They just work them. They'll be like, this is the game that we're going to work on. And so you put in X amount of hours, and then you'll never get credit for it.
Wow. See, I wasn't aware of all this. But one thing, Lindsay shared a story where there's adults that have gone this game, and a lot of kids play it. And I'll just let your imagination go from there. But she said that there's been some stuff that's happened where, adults have been like, hey, whatever. And it's, so anyway.
So it's supposed to be a very kid-friendly format, and kids coding and making games for other kids, but it's really shady on the way, kind of like your game will never get seen. It's almost like YouTube videos. If you don't start trending, it'll never get seen. So the kids get contacted by these people like, hey kid, do you want your video to start trending? Do this for me. Or if you pay this amount of money, you get this many stars, and when you have this many stars on your game, then it'll get to the front page or something. So if this sounds like something you would be interested in learning more about, there was a really cool video. I'm sure if you just search it out, you'll find it, but it was really interesting. And that was something I didn't know about at all, but it was in the realm of gaming. So I came across it and was like, yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, no, one of the reasons why, I don't know if all the kids play it that much, but I don't know. But I know that her eldest, Landry, she plays because a lot of her friends back home in Virginia play, so they can keep in contact. But the thing is, like, they don't get on till later, so a lot of times she's up playing it kind of late, blah, 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 whatever. But
Yeah, and I'll just throw it out there. It's like anything on the internet; it can be good or bad. So
I'm not saying it's the devil. We're not pooping on it, but it's like anything else. It's open to abuse, you know. So anyway, all right. So anything else about
video games? Yeah.
So right now, you're
That's
still
why I
playing.
really have no pop culture, is because
He is-
Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
He is deep in Sekiro.
So the first time I played it, I got beaten down badly. And this time I'm doing a lot better. I don't know why. Maybe I have the mental tenacity for it that I already was like, okay, prepare myself for that. This game is different from Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Elden Ring now. There is one, as they call them, walls in the game. There's a boss where it's like you may be stuck on him for hours and hours and hours, but once you get past him, then you're like, okay, now I'm quote unquote good at the game or whatever. If I can get past this, you're okay. Or like when they have bosses that are equipment checks.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one where you're like, if you can beat this boss, then you're on your way. Yeah. So last time I got to that boss and rage quit.
Yeah.
I was like, I can never do it. Because this one gets away from the, okay, like Dark Souls is get in there and get your hits. Then the monster's going to try and attack you, and you need to stay away and avoid all that. And then when you see the opening, come back in. Mm-hmm. This one is you need to stay on them the whole time.
Keep the pressure on them.
Yep. So if you're not attacking, you need to be deflecting attacks. But you need to be right there in their face almost all the time for it.
Wow.
And I was telling you guys on the Facebook the other night, there was a really cool giant monkey boss.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, Matt, he does fling poo at you.
Excellent.
But that was one of the best throughout all the games, I would say. That was one of the best fights. And it was probably more Dark Souls-like than any of the other bosses in Sekiro so far. But
cool.
It was a really good fight. So, I mean, it is different, but I'm enjoying it so far this go-around.
Cool.
We'll see if I end up rage quitting on the next couple bosses.
There you go.
Okay, but that's it for video games.
Video games.
So we might talk about RPG updates right now if we had any. Because you people love our stories from the table.
Yeah, apparently. So my group is doing DCC, but I'm using old Living Greyhawk modules that I've DCC-ified them a bit. And I've cherry-picked certain ones that went well with that. And last time, there were these poisonous mushrooms, like lining the rivers and the roadsides or whatever. And they had to go and convince this baron to let them borrow his prized truffle pigs. Mm-hmm. And then they had to, guard them on the way back. Well, coming through the forest with these truffle pigs, all these animals in the wild could smell them, So they got attacked by a troll. They got attacked by some, I called them because, DCC phase panthers. You know what phase panthers were?
Copyrighted.
Yeah, exactly. Those are, with the cats with the tentacles that, phase in and out. Anyway, but they were able to convince the guy, get the pigs back safely. And now they've used the pigs to eat off most of the mushrooms. Well, now they're like, all right, now that we've eliminated them because they were poisoning people and people were dying and getting sick, they were like, we want you to trace back to where did these damn mushrooms come from. So that's where we left off. But the group's been having some fun with that. It's been interesting. They just hit 4th level, so they're close to 5th, and that's when I'm probably actually gonna call it for DCC with this. Well, we'll have to do something else because 5th level. Anyway, we won't elaborate on that. What about your group?
I didn't really have much to add on that. We're not going to meet up this time because people are all out of town.
Oh, right.
But I was going to say that if you just so happen to be listening to this on Thursday or Friday, and this will be July the 16th, me and Matt will be running some games at Dragon's Nest. They're having their grand reopening.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hear this in time, come on out and check that out. And on the 16th, we'll be running games at 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock because we have to get our dinner break in there.
Exactly. And, it's a shame. Wish we knew somebody close by that was doing, because, the 16th is DCC Day as well.
Yep.
But I don't think anybody's, one place might be celebrating it, but anyway, I should not speak more of that. But anyway.
So come support your friendly local game shop.
Exactly. You come out to the Dragon's Nest, great bunch of folks, and they're going to be, I guess, having some fun re-grand opening shenanigans. If nothing else, we're running some cool games. So
yeah, why would you want to miss out on that?
Exactly, precisely.
And the place is massive.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever seen a game shop that big.
Wow, even big. Steel Fox was pretty big.
That's true.
Remember how
but then
big
again,
it was? Part of it was the ceilings were 20 foot tall, too.
Yeah.
It made it seem a lot more massive.
But this one, I think they're 4,000 square foot.
Holy crap.
And then they've got another 4,000 on top of that. So if they wanted to expand, or that might get turned into apartments. Yes, they've got that much space, and you could live over the game shop.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it would be like run your group and then be like, all right, good night, guys. I'm going upstairs.
No. It's like how many people, it's like, they're like, I'm an alcoholic, I live over a bar. How cool is that? It's like, I'm a game addict, I live over a game store. You know what I mean? That's, you know, I could use the game. Let me go see what's happening downstairs. You know?
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool, especially if you're that young kid that's in college
Hipster,
or
yeah.
right out.
Well, when I got my first real job as an LPN, I looked into loft apartments in Shreveport because I just thought that was hip and cool. Boo, if I had a loft apartment, you know. But what they wanted was ridiculous for like bare brick and a refrigerator from the 50s. And you're like, how much do you want? It's got the hip factor. Yeah.
You got to pay for that.
Yeah, apparently. Anyway.
All right, now that we're 45 minutes in.
Wow. See, you were like, this will be brief. We have nothing to talk about. I love that.
Well, I had nothing to talk about. I wanted to talk about Elvis, but
I like you really woke up though. You were over here, Old Man River, and then and you're awake and all grinning and up.
well, I want to talk about Elvis, but no.
Yeah, well, we did.
Actually, that was pretty funny. If you guys had the video podcast, you'd see that I've got a big grin. I got nothing against Elvis, but boy, do I love to play devil's advocate sometime.
Oh, wow. And actually, I'm bad about playing devil's advocate a lot, but that's one of those things that I don't really believe in heroes per se, but there's just, I won't lie. When I was a little kid and I heard Elvis die, I freaking bawled like a baby, man. And it was the weirdest
like
thing.
a baby, or you? Oh, no.
I was only like 7, so I mean, I was practically a baby anyway. But yeah, I think I don't know, 5, 6, 7. Shit, I don't remember how old it was, but I was still pretty young. But I don't know why, but I guess my oldest sister or my mom, whoever they belonged to, we had a bunch of old Elvis records and record players, and I remember of all the stuff I listened to. I loved it. Hell, when in the 3rd grade, I was in a talent contest in school, and I took 2nd place doing Hound Dog dressed as Elvis. So to say that I might have been a little bit of an Elvis fan even as a kid, you know.
Well, I think some of that is region-based or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're from the South,
yeah,
you've probably got some good exposure to Elvis, and my mom is an Elvis fanatic, of course.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we've gone and seen the Elvis impersonators.
Oh wow,
that's quality stuff right there.
Well, you know who was in a movie years ago? I think it was made for TV that playing Elvis. Kurt Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen that one? I figured you.
I think so, but it was so long ago because
it
was
like maybe a few years after he died.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would have been the 70s, 80s, or whatever.
And then I saw it when it was on like the ABC Sunday Night Movie Special. So that's 10 years after the movie comes out or something.
Yeah. And then, of course, years later, it's funny, they picked him to be in, 3,000 Miles to Graceland with Kevin Costner.
Mm-hmm.
And there were all a handful of Elvis impersonators. Anyway, yeah. Here we went down the rabbit hole. All right, so what's today's topic, man?
Today's topic that I have absolutely nothing for, believe it or not, but I think it's a fantastic topic, is your worst mistake as a player, worst mistakes as a GM. Mm-hmm. And actually, this might be one that we could recycle on the Twitch sometime in the future.
Yeah, exactly. See, yeah, when I thought about this, I was like, hey, yeah, we get some real use out of it. So at least I get a little credit for something, maybe. Yeah.
Lindsay, did you come up with this topic?
Damn it! Don't tell him. Yeah, she did. But anyway, no, I did. But it's okay. So, yeah, what's the biggest mistake you made as a player, as a GM? So you said you don't have anything for this?
I've never made a mistake.
Oh, good God.
Now, I guess, how long have we known each other that we'll claim now? About 10 years?
Yeah.
So do you think of something horrible that I did as a GM?
I don't think you've ever done anything horrible, I would say. But I'm trying to think. I know that Cody used to tease you about when you were doing the
cliffhanger.
Yeah, cliffhanger.
But I'll put that one on too much internet GMing or whatever. Yeah. Like, here's 10 useful tips to spice up your game to please your man.
Cliffhanging is brilliant, but I remember at one time we were like an hour in, and it's like cliffhanger, and we're like, dude, we're gonna have to wait a week, and we only got 1 hour of gaming. Well, this was a good point to cliffhang. Well, maybe don't cliffhang an hour in or whatever, but that's one time.
For you guys, I was probably sick of looking at your faces on top of that.
I don't blame you. Me, Papa John, and Cody. That's a That's 3 months right there. I tell you what, woof. Yeah.
That was that was some exciting stuff.
But to this day, I love the time that John blew your mind and blew our minds. I still talk about that. Or
Yeah, it was like
about
he's
that.
totally going to sell you guys
Yeah,
out.
he's like, because his MO every time was to sell us out, do us dirty, run away, and leave us hanging, whatever.
Except for this one
and the
time.
one time you were planning on it, you were expecting him to do it, you wanted him to do
but
it.
add this in.
You would talk to him ahead of time.
Add this in.
Yeah.
He would sell you guys out. If there was like one goblin that walked up, he'd be like, "That's it. I'm joining the goblin side. Goodbye. I hope you guys die."
I mean, his
So
character
this
was the
time,
worst. Yeah.
This time there's like, you guys are gonna die.
The chips are down. Yeah.
There was the basically like mind flayer type dudes.
Oh yeah.
And I can't remember how many of them, probably like 10 or something. And you guys are 4th level characters or something.
Like unarmed, unarmored. But
you
he
were
had
prisoners.
But he had joined in with them, so they're like,
course.
you can have all your armor and weapons. We trust you. You're one of us. One of us. One of us.
And it's like the one fight that you can't possibly win. Because, they were out there feeding people to whatever was out in the bushes.
Like we were having to wait for our turn
to be executed.
To be sacrificed, executed. And so we're just like, Eddie's playing it out as these other people are being sacrificed to whatever the mysterious thing is off in the bushes. And just when it's about our turn and we're looking at John and looking at Eddie, all of a sudden goes, "Surprise, I cast whatever." And we're all like, "What?" And even Eddie was like, the look on his face, because Eddie's generally...
I spit my teeth out.
Yeah, he's got a real good poker face, and generally doesn't, but he was even this gaping like, "What in the hell just happened?" And I'm laughing because you can find it later. Like, I even asked him, like, "All right, John, are you really going to go through?" And like the day before when y'all were having family time, he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm selling them down the river, screw them, whatever, So I was bravo to you, John, because you totally blew everybody's mind, and I'll never forget that.
I'll put that in my top 10 most shocking.
Yeah. So anyway, but talk about as far as mistakes as a game master or player. I know for me as a GM that years ago, and this is a good lesson in life actually, because I used to tell somebody that I knew, it's like, don't project your crap onto other people. You don't want to go through life thinking, well, I think this way. Obviously, this is the right way to think. Everyone thinks that way. And I kind of caught myself at one time, this is probably like in the LG days, that I'm like, well, this is the way to play these games. This is the way you run them. And this is what everyone should want. Of course they want that. And then you find out that if you're wise, like everybody gets something different out of everything, but definitely gaming, there's the guys that, or gals or whatever, that they've had a tough week at work. They just want to show up and just kind of mindlessly grind, kind of like a video game, but the more social aspect of the table, killing the monsters and taking their loot and rinse repeat. And they're perfectly content with that. And there's the people that want like a deep, rich role-playing experience, and there's people that want a mix of that, and then there's this and that or whatever. And so it's one of those things that I would say, one of those things that thankfully I'm happy to say I learned my lesson. I know better now, but I'll tell on myself, is that there was a time where I was like, well, of course people want to role play. Of course people want to XYZ or whatever. And that's not always the case, and it's good. And you can't make everybody happy or you'll drive yourself nuts. But I've told this story before, I know to you, and it might have even on here before, but like I was running a game and I used to do a thing I called spotlighting. I'd make sure like every few adventures, there's one adventure that was going to be all about one of the players, really showcase them, let them, it'd be their time to shine. And one player after that came to me and said, "Why were you picking on me?" And I'm like, "What? Picking on you? I was trying to..." So you see how he misinterpreted, like I'm somehow putting him on the spot and trying to embarrass him. And I'm trying to let him have this rich experience where he gets to be the main character of the story that night. So you see how that's something to learn there too. Some players, they just want to kind of like, it's already all they can do to maybe show up to the game, because we talked about social anxiety. Not to say that we don't want to stereotype gamers as having this, the majority of them having some sort of issues or something, but I've met through the years a number of gamers that would have some societal anxiety or different things like that, and you've got to get them in that comfort zone or whatever. And this guy was like, looking back, it was a hell of a note that he showed up and even played games. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because I think that really was a little bit outside of his comfort zone, but he felt safe with those players and me as a game master. Anyway, so that's my thing. I might have, my mistake as a game master.
Know your audience.
Exactly. If you can, take the time, try to. And that's the other thing is that, and I'll say that as a player, I would play in someone's game and they would run it a certain way. And my assumption was, well, you would think someone would run the game the way they want to play it. That's the kind of game they want to play. And that's not always true, which seems still to me seems a little odd. But you would figure you would run the type of game that you would want to play. But I've seen where a person that ran their game a certain way, and I tried to run the game that way, and they don't think they liked it at all. And I was thinking, this is exactly how you run your game for us. But I bet you can't guess what I'm talking about. But anyway,
yeah. I would say my biggest thing as a GM is not going full throttle enough, not putting the hammer down, not being mean enough as a GM, not killing enough characters, not helping players kill their characters enough, to put it that way. That's probably the biggest thing is to Mr. Nice Guy. That's how they know me on here. Pardon and judge, Eddie.
You're such a sweetheart. I tell you, the table got on to me at North Texas because that freaking secret level of The Mummy Bride.
Secret level.
By Levi Combs for DCC. That first encounter is brutal as an understatement, and it was about to TPK the party. And I was like, all right, let me pull back. And Matt Couch and a few others were like, no. And like Lou Al Lou, our buddies, were like, no, this is DCC. Bring the heat. Bring the pain. This is DCC, Matt. Don't do that sweetie pie stuff. And I was like, no, y'all are right. But that's me. I'm always rooting for the players, and maybe sometimes a little too much. So again, that's something as a GM that I should probably be a little more hard-nosed.
Okay, so now that you've got yours, that got me thinking a little bit.
Yeah.
Probably one of my things as a GM that I had to overcome was running adventures as written. That back in the day, I thought, like Village Omelet, you have to run that exactly as it was written with no deviation because these words are the law.
Being a purist,
Yeah, everyone should have the same experience. And with like when we're doing Adventures League, a lot of that is like, well, it'd be really interesting if I put this in right here, and you're like, but you can't because it's Adventures League. But even after a while that wore off, and I was like, who cares? As long as there's still a +1 sword and 500 gold pieces at the end. The line between X and Y don't matter as much.
And even anymore, like in the Adventure League, in the front of it, it says, like, to a certain degree, make this your own. So they even give you a bit of carte blanche to deviate, but they kind of say still, don't just go full, like, whole cloth, like, there isn't actually a dragon in this, but I've decided there will be one. I mean, no, but, yeah.
And then I'll just tell you, this is one of my humorous stories from when I very first, probably like the second or third thing I ever ran when I was just but a child, there was a Ravenloft adventure that had mummies in it. And then to defeat the mummy, you had to find the holy symbol hidden down in his pyramid or whatever. And of course, his holy symbol would be like the Egyptian cross, which is called an Ankh. But being a young man from the deep woods of East Texas, I said an Anka. I don't know why, but I said
that's how it's spelled.
Anka.
That's how it's spelled.
So we're going through this, and these guys are not getting anywhere in the adventure. And finally, there's like this big ship that they buried down there for him too. And they're like, let's go on the ship. I was like, why the hell are you guys going on the ship? So we can find the anchor. Got him, folks. I got him. So that's when we just shut the book and called it a night. When they wanted to find the anchor.
Nice.
East Texas accents, folks.
Yeah, if your leg's hurting, or if you're not quite ready,
put your head down on the pillar.
Yep. Or that picture over there. It's a beautiful picture.
Which I don't like. I definitely don't have the accent I used to have. I don't think either one of us have much of an accent. Well, but that's to us.
Plus, I'm from Louisiana.
But you don't even have the Louisiana accent.
Well, see, because no Louisiana. Yeah, we don't have that. Yeah.
You're just East Texas.
Yeah.
If you're in North Louisiana.
Yeah. Well, we've often said that the people from down south would be like, Texas ought to just, what do you call it?
Annex you.
Annex, Northwest Louisiana. And we were all like, yeah, we wish they would. I mean, because, like I said, you had more Cowboy fans there than Saints fans up until a few years ago.
All right. What about a big mistake as a player?
Well, I think I'd mentioned that one, which was, like I said, playing a game which is kind of a GM player / kind of crossover. But yeah, like I said, playing a game where you play with a person and I'm paying attention to how they run it, and I would be like, next time I run, I'll run the game like, because I'm that thoughtful. Here, let me pat myself on the back. But it's like, I'll run it the way he's running his game, and I'm sure they'll love it. And I found out, no, that's not necessarily the case, you know. So that's one thing as a player, and I'm sure I had a thought on that one when I first came up with the question, but now I can't think of what the answer was for. What about you, though?
Okay, so as a player, one of the things that I will admit to as a newer player, I was definitely one of the like, but this is what my character would do. Well, that's not fun for anybody.
Yeah.
So now that we've got all these years behind us and we can look back and go, don't be the guy that has well, my character would do this. Some of it is the voice of experience. You can grow out of those things.
Like, what was the video I just posted on our little private thing where it's like, that's so Shecky or whatever the guy's character is, and you're like, ugh, you know. Yeah.
That wasn't me, but we've definitely played with those guys enough times.
That's what Shecky would do, you know. And when I'll say that was that it might have been some bad behavior, but like there was one adventure where my character, me running him, kind of screwed over some real life friends. But even one of the guys later on, who's pretty mature, said, well, that's absolutely what your character would do. And I went, you know, because he knew how I'd played the character up to then. So he said, I will give you that. But he goes, still, I'm pretty put out with you. I said, yeah, I can tell. This is going to take a little while for, you know, this was Tad and Bobby were kind of put out with me. Booga, not so much, or Tom is his real name. We used to call him Booga. But anyway, that was one of those things where, I mean, looking back, you know, yeah, that was probably not entirely cool, because it was that whole, well, this is what my character would do. Yeah, but it's not really cool. But anyway.
Well, we had one of, way back in the day, we had one of my beloved characters ended up getting killed in an underwater level. Mm-hmm. So we started this new campaign, and we're going, and it's like, hey, here's the underwater level. I'm like, screw it. I'm not doing it. Mm-hmm. I'll stay here. You guys go have fun. My character's not going. And that completely derailed the adventure. GM's like, budget. This was gonna, you know, this was only gonna be a short little part, and all you had to do was blah blah blah. And it was like that ended the whole thing right there, and it was like, okay, so there's one for you.
And that's something that, I mean, I don't think you did anything wrong as a player. It's just that game master should be more adaptable. Which, talking about that video again, it's like the guy talked about where a player did something that completely change the composure and tone of his campaign through his actions, and that's where you have to be adaptable. And it's not, I want people to be deterred from game mastering, like, what? But that's where, yeah, I mean, hopefully your players are mature enough to realize if you're a novice game master, they're not going to be constantly trying to throw a monkey wrench in your plot. But also, as a kid, I won't lie, I practically told a story that my players got to interact with, but they seemed to enjoy that. But I look back now and I go, I was like, wow, really? But I mean, generally, it was pretty much a plotted out story, and my players, it was almost like playing a pick a path book more than anything. I look back now, but they loved it. But if one of the players that ever, you know, I might be being hard on myself, there might have been times where I feel like I improv some based off their actions and skewed some things or changed some things. But as far as my players never just like almost contrarily, you know, completely derailed what I was trying to do or something like that. I don't remember ever dealing with that. But anyway, yeah.
All right. You want to talk about anything else on this topic?
I can think of.
All right. Well, that's about it. I don't think we're doing a Twitch show this month.
Yeah.
So we got to say the F word a lot more on this one.
We
got to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah. But anyway, what would you guys think about? Well, anyway, never mind. Cliffhanger.
I can tell by the clock on the wall, we're all out of hit points.
Who was you?